Hey golfers, in this next video I'll be talking about head lowering in backswing. Keep watching. Hey, it's Troy from hittingitsolid.com here, thanks for watching. So in this video I'm talking about head lowering in backswing. So why is head lowering a bad thing? Well, I'll get over one here. Now it's important to note while I go through this that some head movement is okay. Most of the best players in the world all have a little bit of head movement, but with everything in the golf swing, we don't want too much of it. So I'm talking about excessive downward head movement or lowering in your backswing. And this is what it looks like. I'll get set up over one here. Same thing with a driver. I'm just using an iron here as a demonstration. As I go back, you see that head dips down, that lead shoulder really dips down. Now it happens probably for a couple of reasons. One, I believe, is you might be lacking a bit of core strength around here, not enough to support your upper body, and as a reason you're collapsing. It can also happen because you're trying to get a little bit more tilt and you may be going too far. So tilt is that angle of my shoulders here. We want that tilt, absolutely, you definitely want it, but we don't want too much tilt because that gets us right off balance. I've actually battled with my head lowering in the backswing probably for 6-12 months now. It's just crept up in my game. I'm not sure how it got there, but I'm going to give you some pointers to help get rid of it and why it's important to get rid of it so you can start playing some great golf. So if I get over one here, now the reason it's not a good thing in my opinion, and I'm talking about excessive head lowering, is I'm a certain distance away from the golf ball here at setup. Now if I make a backswing, I get closer to the ball straight away. That's changed my radius from the ball, it's changed that distance. Now what that means is on the downswing, I've got to readjust again to be able to hit the ball solid, and it changes that low point where I'm going to hit the golf ball. So you can imagine I'm set up to one here. If I get lower here, on the downswing, I've got to make some sort of compensation to try and hit the golf ball solid. Now, what happens 9 times out of 10, if you lower it, on the downswing, the opposite happens and you'll lift up, you'll get further from the golf ball, your arms will extend, you'll end up scooping or lifting at the golf ball. Your low point could be really anywhere, and you lose a lot of that timing and consistency. So it's important that you keep your head reasonably level as you turn. A little bit of movement is okay, but if it dips too much, that can really compromise your downswing. So I'll get over one here. Another reason it could be happening, inside takeaway. Grab a club and I'll demonstrate this with you. You'll see here, if I make I'll exaggerate this. If I make an inside takeaway, straight away the club's pulling this way, your body needs to counterbalance and it goes the opposite direction. So if you're pulling the club inside, there can be a tendency to get a dip of the head. So work on your takeaway. I've got other videos on the channel that go through the takeaway, but it's important. If you can get a much better takeaway, your head's likely to remain a lot more level, all right? So, what can we do to fix this? So there's a few things I'm going to go through that will really help you get a more level head. And the first one, as you make your backswing, I want you to feel like you get a little bit taller. Now, this won't necessarily happen, but I want you to feel like if you're excessively dipping, you need to do the opposite and exaggerate the opposite now, which would be feeling like you're getting a little bit taller. Now, I will say one thing here. It's important you don't go too far with this and flatten your shoulders out completely, because I don't want you to do this and get completely level shoulders, because that will defeat the purpose of fixing it. You still need to keep some tilt in your shoulders, but to really exaggerate it, you might need to feel like your shoulders are getting a lot flatter as you make your backswing. Okay, so that's just a bit of exaggeration you might have to do, but you still need some tilt. You just don't want this sort of tilt there. Okay, here's a couple of drills you can practice that are really effective for this. So the first one, I'll show you from a couple of different angles. As we take our setup, I want you to lift the heel of your lead foot off the ground. You've probably seen many great players of the past doing this, even some current pros do this. It's an effective move for helping you make a bigger turn as well. But what it'll do, if you're someone that dips the head, if you lift that heel off the ground, you'll see it's kind of extremely difficult to really dip down lower when that heel is off the ground. So you can practice doing swings, and that should help level out that head, keep it a lot more steady, and stop it from lowering. And by all means, you can hit shots like this at the driving range, and that will keep it a lot more steady and help you become a lot more consistent. So from this angle, probably won't be able to see it as clear, but it certainly helps keep that head, I'll go towards the camera, a lot more steady. So just during the backswing, doesn't have to come up much. Really good for controlling that head movement. Now the final thing, and this is a great drill I recommend you practicing at home first, building up a lot of repetitions and then taking it to the driving range and actually hitting shots with it. Really helps build up that core strength and will do a lot for keeping that head a lot more steady in that backswing. So what I want you to do is make your swing really feeling like you're keeping that head steady, pause, and then swing through. I think they're sometimes called freezer drills, but the idea is, by pausing at the top, I want you to make sure you're keeping that head steady, then you can really fire on the downswing. So I'm really keeping that head steady. Pause for as long as you feel you need to ensure you're not sort of getting any sort of excess movement there. So one towards the camera. That's a great drill to practice, and that'll really stop that head from lowering in that backswing. Now, what will help you even further, I've got a video coming up that talks about rotation in the backswing. Now this ties right in with this video to help you make an even better golf swing. So make sure you watch it, it's coming up. Do you want to know how to make a better golf swing? Click and watch the video on your screen now. It's going to go into more detail about how you can rotate your shoulders better in the backswing and make an overall better golf swing. Do you want to know how you can play even better golf? Consider subscribing to the channel. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.